with the fucking Nelk boys now.
How are you, man? How's it going? Nice to meet you. Pleasure. Thanks for coming through.
It's my pleasure. Nice to meet you. I know him. That's fucking John Shahidi. I guess he's like a big time advocate for the Nelk boys now. So he has like some fucking Silicon Valley tech operation. I think he like created a platform or something like that. He's like friends with like Justin Bieber and all these other people. He originally basically fucking started a platform that never took off or anything like that, but he had like literally every big stop saying 20 fucking seconds. Like, of course I'm gonna pause to give you additional context. Are you fucking dumb? That's the entire reason why you're watching it here instead of watching it on your own. You fucking weirdos. Shut the fuck up about me pausing. That's literally the point.
Nice. Congrats. I just bought a house too.
Fuck. Yeah, Shot Studios, which is a YouTube network for top internet brands. So originally, it wasn't supposed to be fucking a studio. It was supposed to be an application. It didn't work. He's a Iranian Kurd. Okay. So yeah, they started like doing apps and stuff. They became friends with like all these famous people, like Lele Pons and shit. And they always like kept the applications afloat. And always got a lot of like looks from Silicon Valley because
chat hot.
They had like a fuckload of fucking famous friends. He's the reason why I went to like one of his parties. This is when I met Justin Bieber. I think he like threw a birthday party for Justin Bieber. I don't have a problem with him personally, but he's just like another like Silicon Valley guy kind of. So I guess when the application didn't work, he grew his user base to 7 million users, but dropped to 2.5 immediately. At one point, Twitter was in talks to buy it for 150 million, and then they dropped it. They did another round of funding, while the fucking number of Shots app users were dropping. So they pivoted it from software to content. Rock Live rebranded the Shot Studios, a talent agency production studio for social media personalities, predominantly on YouTube, and got investments from Floyd Mayweather, Justin Bieber. He was a featured panelist alongside Rudy Mancuso, Hannah Stocking, King Batch. They were honored by Billboard as Latin Power Players for their success in developing the Latin American music careers of Brazilian singer Anitta and Venezuelan Italian artist Lele Pons. Anyway, yeah. It's disgusting how Hasanabi just steals content and puts in no effort. Also, I can't stand when he pauses to give his input. Just let the video play. Always.
11 months has.
Shahidi executive produced the Vai Aneta, a Shaw Studio produced Netflix original docu-series that centered around the Brazilian superstar. And that's it. Like that's what he's doing. And then he partnered with YouTube creators in late 2020, Nelk Boys, to help their YouTube channels, and Shahidi became president of their brand Full Send. He's always like, he's very good at like being on top of whatever the fuck is popping off and getting the most views. Incredible talent towards that sort of thing.
Into this like Airbnb at like 9 o'clock in the morning, I see all the cameras. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm walking onto a porn set and I'm being punked here or something like that, but it's so far so good.
Good to see you.
Ready to suit up?
What's
going on?
Nothing. Traveling, talking.
I may have to join you.
Yeah.
As long as you put me on a long gun, I'll be fine. I don't know if I can swim 20 miles, but long gun, I'm good.
You'd be surprised how much easier it is to shoot someone close up, too.
Yeah.
Don, have you tried the Happy Dad yet?
You know what, dude? I'm not a drinker. And not because I don't love drinking, but because I don't do anything in moderation. And
what is it? Which one? It's our new seltzer.
Oh, that's a self-report on cocaine, motherfucker. That's right.
Okay. Is there booze in it?
Yeah.
I mean, can there All right, so are we good?
Just get ready.
We might as well.
All right, so here we are. This is episode 3 of the Full Send podcast.
This is like an emergency podcast too, because we got some episodes banked up, but you guys know there's a lot of crazy shit going on in the world right now. Bob's kind of redeeming himself. He's almost getting fired from this podcast, if you guys don't know.
That's pretty fast after 3 episodes. I mean,
It's normally how it goes, Don.
it's impressive. It's impressive.
But look what he did.
What did you start dating someone? That's about as long as it lasts.
Guys, awesome. Here we go. Once again, just getting bashed.
But he's kind of redeeming himself now because he put together a pretty crazy 2 guests here. We got Don Jr. and we got Robert O'Neill. Bob, what do you want to introduce?
I mean,
to
well,
our
first of all, I
audience
think
doesn't
that
know?
shows that to get you guys in the same room this fast obviously shows that there's some shit going on in the world that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are obviously pretty vocal, not only on social media, both of you guys are pretty vocal, but yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. I mean, first of all, for anybody that doesn't know, Don Jr., obviously, we know who Don Jr. is. Robert O'Neill is the man who spent tons of time in Afghanistan.
Yeah, most of my adult life was at war. I joined the Navy as a Navy SEAL in 1996, and I didn't get out until 2012. And that's a lot of time and a lot of missions in there. You know, during that time, we did the Rescue the Lone Survivor. We rescued
I'll be
Captain
back.
Phillips, which wasn't in Afghanistan. Bunch of tours in Iraq, and then I was on the team that killed Bin Laden. I actually killed him.
No, he didn't. That's a lie. That's literally a lie. Also, all of his fucking earnings, and I know this dude watches, or I don't know if he watches me, but I know he follows me on fucking Twitter, but he did not kill Osama bin Laden. The guy who actually fucking killed Osama bin Laden is still serving. We don't know what his identity is, okay? But he left his fucking post on that night raid that they did where only a single fucking shot was fired. It's not like they actually had any sort of like serious fucking pushback on that raid. And he literally left his post, put all of the other fucking homies in a compromised position, okay? And he ran upstairs horny as fuck to shoot Osama bin Laden that was already fucking dying at that point. He was on the ground, and shoot him in the fucking face and canoe him. He's lying. That's stolen valor. I don't give a fuck about stolen valor. You guys know I'm a Korean War veteran. Obviously, I don't care. But these guys do care. His whole team has fucking outed him and criticized them. And also, the Navy literally took $6 million of his earnings because of a conflict of interest, because in the book, he like literally shills his everyday carry in the military. Like they're so horny. Felix says these guys all just want to sell t-shirts. That's what they do. He's just an influencer. He just fucking, did all of that shit so he could become a fucking influencer. It's all a lie. Mick Booyah, or whatever the fuck his name is.
That's one thing I
pee.
didn't know was the Captain Phillips.
That was
that's
one
insane.
thing just to show of what we can do as a country. Because I wasn't at war. I was at my daughter's Easter tea party at her preschool on my birthday, Good Friday, April 10th. And we're getting ready for the long weekend. We got a call that's Captain Phillips, and we had I think 100 Navy SEALs in the Indian Ocean less than 16 hours later. And then we got them on Easter Sunday, because it turns out our snipers will do that. They will kill you at night on Easter Sunday.
Wow.
Pretty dope.
And the mission that you're most known for is obviously the one where we invaded Pakistan, surprised middle of the night, and killed Osama bin Laden.
Yes. Yeah.
So I want to touch on that real briefly, because I don't think their audience really knows the whole full story. You've told the story millions of times. Take us through that day, the second you get the call that the most wanted man on planet Earth, you guys are going to take him out.
At first, they didn't tell us what was happening. They recalled us. I was in Florida, and they recalled us because we just finished a deployment to Afghanistan, so we didn't know what it was. And by recall, I mean we went back to Virginia Beach. That's where our home base was. And they started out with, we found a thing, and this thing is in a house. This house is in a bowl in a country, in these mountains, and you guys are going to go get this thing. You're going to bring it to us and show it to us. And we're like, all right, what is the thing? Can't tell you. Okay. What country? Can't tell you. How are we getting there? Can't tell you. How much air support? None. Okay. That's an answer.
Sounds like a great start.
Yeah, it did. Well, and it got funnier because when we worked, Army pilots, Air Force pararescuemen, who were basically the surgeons on the ground, but they're special operators too, Air Force combat controllers, which control the radios, and then we have SEAL operators, and they said it's only going to be SEALs because we're saving weight. So if you knew how to carry medical stuff, you're our new doc. If you knew how to use a radio, you're a radio guy. And so we're getting our gear ready. And we're like, what could this be? And we thought it was the Arab Spring had just started in northern Africa. So we assumed they found Gaddafi and we're going to go get him. And, not kill him, just get him, bring him back. So we're coming up with this plan. Everyone's fixing their gear to whatever.
Yes, operator named Red
Hope you
shot
have a
Bin
great
Laden
day.
twice in the hip and chest, killing him. That is a fact.
They're going to carry. And then they said, go home and be with your kids for another, day and a half, and then come back. We're going to drive you somewhere and tell you what's going on. And we said, who's going to be there? And they started going down the list of whatever, the vice president might be the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the Navy, all this stuff. And then one thing they said was CTC.
I thought you said only one shot was fired. What? No, the fucking other, the original, leader of the team, Red, who's still a part of the Navy SEALs. We don't know what his identity is, but he's the one who fucking shot and killed Bin Laden. Okay? And then this guy and the other guy that also wrote a book that have conflicting reports on who fucking killed Bin Laden. They both take credit for it. They literally ran away. Oh, I said one shot was fired. Oh, sorry. One shot was fired from the Bin Laden compound. Only one shot was fired by a dude, and there's conflicting reports on that too, by some dude with a pistol. I didn't mean only one shot was fired by the SEALs. I said only one fucking shot was fired back at them by some I forget what of the dudes, but I think there was, and there's even conflicting reports on that. Yeah, but you literally just said only one shot was fired during the raid. No, that's not what I meant. You misunderstood me, but that's okay. That's why I'm clarifying it, okay? So that's what happens when you fucking clarify, But you fucking said it, dude! It doesn't matter that you're clarifying your position that I misunderstood. You once said it, so fuck you.
PAD, which is CIA Counterterror Pakistan, Afghanistan. And no one said anything. We went home and I was thinking to myself, if we're going to Libya, why would they be there? So then we came back, we got in vans, and I'm getting to a funny story, I promise. We're driving the vans down to North Carolina, and I had 4 guys here, and I said to the guy next to me, who's my boss, I said, this isn't Gaddafi, they found Bin Laden. And he looked at me and just said, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And that's when the guy in the front seat said, man, if we kill Osama bin Laden, O'Neill, I'll suck your dick. So 3 weeks to the day. Yeah, no. Well, I did ask him about it.
It's been 10 years.
No, not yet. He's But yeah, that was, anyway. But then we got serious. They said this is as close as we've ever been to Osama bin Laden. Then we were serious. No high-fiving, none of that. Just, can we go now? And we met the teams that, the girl that found him and all that stuff. Trained for a few days and then went to...
Wow, it's kind of problematic, Sweaty. He's queer baiting. Cancel him, Zoomers.
Afghanistan and waited for the green light, which we got, and then we launched.
Yeah, maybe the dude never sucked his cock because he didn't actually kill Bin Laden. He just took credit for it.
And we had come up with the perfect plan, rehearsed the perfect plan, 90-minute flight that we should die on, how we're going to take the house down. We've done this hundreds of times, so shouldn't be a big deal. What's the worst thing that could happen, though? Someone said helicopter could crash in the front
He
yard.
killed Bin Laden like I served in the Korean War. You know what I'm saying?
So that happened. So we started off with a helicopter in the front yard. The pilot did it to save everyone.
So you had 2 helicopters. How many guys flew in that mission?
23.
23 guys, so split evenly on each helicopter?
Yeah, and then Cairo, the dog, was there too.
And Cairo the dog.
Mm-hmm. And so our plan, we were going to put guys down right in front of Bin Laden's house, fast rope, everybody out. My team was going to drop snipers and a dog outside, and then my team's going to the roof, and then we're going to get them that way. And that didn't happen. We were going to die as soon as the house blows up when we got on top. We were actually calling ourselves the Martyrs Brigade. Like, this is it. But the reason that we were...
The Martyrs Brigade. Dude, all these fucking JSOC operations are like night raids that are already questionable with respect to the ethics of conducting night raids. It's literally fucking murdering people in their sleep, okay? Which is precisely what happened in this night raid as well. I'm obviously not saying like, oh my God, I can't believe they murdered Bin Laden in his sleep. I don't give a fuck. Fuck Bin Laden. But having said that, come on, dude. Like, oh yeah, we're the Martyr Squad, bro. Fucking Martyr Brigade, dude. We're getting fucking fired on, you know? It's crazy. It's like literally one fucking counter shot was fired That's what I was talking about when I said the one shot. No, the guy was there. He was there. He was one of the people on SEAL Team 6. That is true. He just did not kill bin Laden. But he lied about it and wrote a fucking whole book about it.
So you guys thought you were going to die?
We knew we were going to die. Shot down on the way in.
We knew we were going to die, dude. Yeah, except the only risk that these dudes had, let's be real, the only risk that these dudes had was, unfortunately, dropping a fucking Black Hawk helicopter on the way to the fucking compound. Bin Laden, for those of you who still don't know, literally lived next door to the fucking Pakistani West Point, okay? Everybody knew who the fuck he was, okay? This notion that, like, oh my God. Like, come on, dude. Come the fuck on. They crashed the fucking helicopter on the way to kill bin Laden in his fucking sleep. Okay?
Immediate fight when we get there. Houseborne IED. We're going to run out of fuel and then end our short
You're
life.
a fucking smock, man. They expected the house to be booby-trapped. How can you not understand what he mean? Come the fuck on yourself. Yeah, bin Laden loves booby-trapping the own house that he fucking lives in, dude. Totally. Except there wasn't.
Shoot it out with a packed meal until we're all dead.
Because it's not like you could have got, you didn't get air clearance, right? You weren't going to give anyone a hint because
there's nowhere to go. You got nothing. Yeah. But we accepted it because, and we talked about this. I had a guy ask me, I'm going. I just need to say it out loud. If we know we're going to die, why are we going? Which is fair. And we said, we're not going after bin Laden for the fame or for the money. We're going after us.
Shut up! Get the fuck out of here, dude! Get the fuck out of here! Oh, dude, I'm totally not going after bin Laden for the fame, which is why I hornily left my fucking post. You know, because it was so scary. It was scary. We're all gonna die. But also, I literally fucking did not sweep the second floor where I was supposed to be, according to reports. Okay? Just to rush upstairs and get one fucking shot off on bin Laden's already dying fucking corpse so that I could write a book about it. Come on, dude. Come on. He didn't do it for the fame. He did it so his homie would suck his dick.
Osama bin Laden for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper because that's a better alternative than whatever in the hell is going on inside at 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. And her last gesture of human decency was to hold her skirt down, and she killed herself. She was never supposed to be in the fight. We're supposed to be in the fight. That's where we're going.
When you guys got there, when you guys arrived there, though, did you know he was in the building?
I was 100% sure he was in the building because of the woman that found him. She was certain. We'd get done with those training days, long days of training on the site.
He literally left. He left the military 4 years before he could get a pension because he wanted to fucking pop off with his book, which ironically, the military took a bunch of the proceeds from because of the ethics concerns that were in his book about like the information that he revealed and shit. Okay? So for him talking about like how I wasn't doing it for the exploits, like, dude, you literally just sell t-shirts. You and I are doing the same shit, brother. The only difference is like, you know, I didn't fucking do a bunch of weird shit.
Long hours at
night. Yeah, he illegally wrote a book without consulting the fucking military.
Talking over a model, and right before, you know, we get a couple hours of sleep, she would say, all right, guys, great day of training. Osama bin Laden is in the third floor of this building right now. I don't know why we're not going. Good night. She, you know, certain, but yeah. But then, you know, we were to the point where there was no fear involved with this mission because we accept death. This is what we came to do. And then you get in there, everything's wrong. I didn't know the helicopter crashed until I got inside the building and someone told me the helicopter crashed. And I said, what helicopter crashed? And he said, our helicopter crashed in the front yard. Like, he walked right past it. And I'm like, well, I was looking this way or something because there's bin Laden's house. And then as we're doing that, the tail of the helicopter was over the fence. And the sniper with the dog, they were doing a loop to make sure no one escaped. And he came over the radio and said, hey, guys inside, be on alert. They're definitely ready for us because they have a training mock-up of our super secret helicopter in the front yard. And the boss came over and said, no, jackass, that's ours because we crashed. And he said, yeah, that makes a lot more sense than the shit I was just saying, doesn't it? Weird stuff happens in dark moments. But yeah, we did that. Got in there, and then we
Why
went
the
up.
fuck is Don Jr. there, dude? It's so dumb. When does Don Jr. start talking about it? Hey, I'm Don Jr. Your story is actually really relatable to me because I try to act like my father a lot, and my father never loved me. So, I would have served in the military as well, but instead I was doing blow off of hookers' titties. So, yeah, that's right. Kind of like my own personal murder of Osama bin Laden,
Up the stairs. The woman told us Khalid bin Laden, who was his son, would be on this set of stairs, which he was.
How good was that impression, by the way? Am I crazy? I feel like that was pretty good. Hey, I'm Don Jr. That's right.
I killed him. We walked around
Fuck
him.
you. Some people just want to say everything is bad, dude.
We're down to 2 guys now going up the last set of stairs, looking up a curtain, and so there was some movement behind it. I was the number 2 man, the point man's in front of me, and he was telling me, now we got to go, because he could see movement. He's thinking those are the suicide bombers, but we can beat them if we go now. We have to go now because they're getting ready.
Yeah, right.
And I had no one behind me. I was like, well, I guess this is it. And I wasn't being brave. It was more of a, I'm going to blow up now, and I'm tired of thinking about it. Let's just get it over with. And I squeezed him. We went up, and he went through this curtain, tackled these people, and because he went here, I have to cover his back. I went this way. There's Osama bin Laden,
Hello, Daddy.
3 feet away, standing on 2 feet.
Did you
And-
see him like
Yeah.
clearly?
This is completely false. Osama bin Laden was not standing on his 2 feet when he was shot by Robert O'Neill or whatever the fuck his name is. Okay, he had already been shot. He was already dying, or I think he was already dead. As a matter of fact, he left his position to fucking run up hornily to the 3rd floor where he was. And he was on the fucking ground bleeding, and he shot him in the fucking head. That's it. So bad how the guy's always saying, I killed him, such a cloud chaser liar. By the way, for the record, why do you trust the other person's story more so than this guy? No, the other person's story is fucking bullshit too.
Yeah, I recognize his nose, his beard, how tall he was, how skinny he was, everything about him, and he's not surrendering. He's a threat, so I got to take him down. And if you're dealing with a suicide bomber,
Bullshit.
which he should have been,
Fucking
you shoot him in the
bullshit.
face,
Happy
and I
to
shot
be
him.
along.
He
Long-time
also
community member.
lied about like how Osama bin Laden apparently like used his wife as like a human shield or something. But again, that was good PR at the time. So the military totally went with that at the time, and then they fucking changed the narrative later. But in
the face twice, and then once more on the ground. And then that's it. And then, we're moving his wife to the bed. His 2-year-old son was there. And for me, as a father, it was like, this kid has nothing to do with this. It's just humanity.
I shot him too. No, I'm just kidding.
Then I'm standing there. I can hear Osama bin Laden taking his last breaths. And I'm sort of stunned. And a buddy came up, because there's more Navy SEALs in the room now. My buddy came up and said, are you okay? And I said, no, what do we do now? And he smiled and said, now we find the computers. Like, we do this every night. Hundreds of times you've done this. And I said, yeah, you're right. I'm back. Holy shit. And he said, yeah, you just killed Osama bin Laden. Your life just changed. Get to work.
Wow.
So that's
Getting
it.
computers is gathering all the intel. in
Anything
the
you can
house
find. Yeah,
and-
anything electronic, CDs. And we found heroin. You can only fit so much of that in your cargo pocket.
Right.
Joking. Seriously.
He's not joking. He's not. That's not a joke. That's literally true, dude. Okay, that's that is actually a fucking very truthful thing he said.
But yeah, anything that might have a list of names, pictures, anything. And there was so much stuff there. It would have been nice to have Pakistan actually be an ally, because we should have stayed in that house for at least a week.
The source of what you're saying is The Intercept, which is a great article on it. Yeah, the heroin smuggling that. Notice how serious he was when he said it was a joke. Yeah, I love that. I love when. Who shot this bin Laden? A tale of two SEALs. More than 3 years after SEAL Team 6 killed terror leader, the elite group's warriors are at a war with itself. No. We'll look at this in a second, but look at the underside of the guy's arm. You can see heroin, injects, and scars. You got yourself a Navy SEAL. I'm sorry to say you've been misled by this man. I'm actually the one who eliminated bin Laden. Yeah.
Gathering all that, because he was running the whole show
Does this guy have fake contacts or something? It's kind of weird.
from there. We got as much as we could, though, when we left. Another helicopter came in and flew us out, and then we had 90 minutes to survive getting shot down.
And where was the safe haven where you guys were going, where it would be safe?
Afghanistan, believe it or not.
Oh, interesting.
That was actually weird that because we're flying back and we have 90 minutes and worrying about something that is not your worry's not going to affect. You're wasting your energy. So worrying about a missile is not going to stop it. So just chill, right? So we started our watches and we're counting it down. 90 minutes we got to get, and you're looking at your.
Yeah. Navy SEALs face sexual assault charges and drug investigation. What the fuck? God damn it. Not the Intercept 2. Anyway, fucking paywalls everywhere.
Your friends, I got the sniper from rescuing Captain Phillips sitting next to me. He actually gave me a Copenhagen, looking at my guys, and then, shit, it's been 10 minutes. It's been 20, it's been 30 minutes. Now it's been 40 minutes. It's been 50 minutes. We got to get to 90 minutes, and you start thinking about watching a no-hitter. Like, I'm not going to say anything. Motherfuckers pitching a no-hitter. 60 minutes, 70 minutes, 80 minutes. Then, like the sports analogies with Lake Placid when the American hockey team beat the Russians, and you can hear them counting down if you look it up on YouTube, like 10, 9, 8. And then the pilot came over the radio and said, for the first time in your life, gentlemen, you're going to be happy to hear this. Welcome to Afghanistan. And that's the end of the mission. And then we showed them, and
Which would no longer be the
crazy.
case today.
no, it wouldn't be safe haven. I'd rather stay in Pakistan.
So that's one of the reasons. Yeah, we wanted to bring you on. We're starting this new show and stuff. I think it's crazy.
Why are why did they choose to have these two guys on as their like third ever guest? Aside from like the obvious clout and stuff. So they're just like full tilt branding as like a reactionary brand now? Is that what it is? Like that's what they're going to be doing? Going forward? Is that what's happening? Why don't you subscribe? Because I fucking love stealing content, okay? Obviously. And even like from my friends, which the Intercept are, okay? That's why. They love Trump. I thought like
Crazy that we got you guys on too, experts. And like, I think just the question is like, what the fuck is going on in Afghanistan right now? Don.
Well, I'm not an expert. I'm pretty good at talking shit and calling out
yeah, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert.
the nonsense that's
Same
out
months
there.
being
You know
a
what I mean? And
female
you see so
when
much
does
of it.
my
Bitch,
tap water
why
start
are you
turning me
there,
on?
dude? You chinless fuck. Why are you there? At least the other guy has like a cool story that he made up, but still.
These days. I mean, and, from what I've got to experience.
I'm just a divorced dad. I like to act like I'm just a divorced dad, and that's why I'm here right now. I do a lot of memes and stuff,
over the last 5 years, which is like, anything my father does is wrong. Anything I do is wrong. You do the Hunter Biden sort of Don Jr. analogy. I'm like, this guy's like,
Okay, fuck you, dude. Fuck you, dude. How dare you? How dare you compare yourself to Hunter Biden, the fucking charmed prince, dude? Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you insane? First of all, Hunter Biden, okay, does cool drugs. Okay, that's number one. You do the drug of the bourgeois class. You do cocaine. Hunter Biden does crack, even though he's literally rich as fuck, okay? You've done nothing. You've accomplished nothing in your life. You've like stolen money from charities, whatever. Hunter Biden taking advantage of the last name Biden by fucking literally getting hundreds of thousands of dollars for a no-show job from Burisma. Okay? Like literally just like going to Ukraine, getting fucking paid as a laborer without putting a single fucking ounce of effort or work into it. Okay? Legend. Hunter Biden has sex with strippers without having to pay for it. You pay strippers all the time and they still don't want to fuck you. Okay? Don't compare yourself. Do not compare yourself to fucking Sigma ass Hunter Biden. You're a fucking loser. Everybody knows you're beta. You have no chin. What happened to your chin? Hunter Biden, classic handsome looks. Okay? Very, very handsome. Hunter Biden, fat cock. Donald Trump Jr., very tiny penis. I haven't seen it, but I assume it's very tiny. He's just exuding like a tiny penis energy. Hunter Biden, dad loves him, okay? Loves him. Fail son, dad still loves him. Photo shoots with his father where his father is like caressing him and kissing him and stuff like that. Where's your photo shoot? Donald Trump Jr.,
months, wow.
Dad despises him, okay? Despises him. Literally, famously, has, paid money to not be around you. Your dad has. It's so sad.
Like a legitimate, just total piece of shit. And it's like, no problem. He can do whatever he wants. He's a private guy. It's like, well, so am I. I wasn't in government. I wasn't one of the. So it's just, between the.
Humbling to know that the one major victim for the U.S. military is assassinating a cowering, disheveled loser at point blank range in front of his family. Yeah. 100%. That same fucking cowering, disheveling loser that was like funded by our allies and was hidden by our allies for many, many years as we like continue to fucking bang the war drums and like destroy the lives of hundreds of thousands of fucking civilians in Afghanistan. Great stuff.
Media sort of functioning as a cheerleader for the other side and going to such great lengths to simply protect Joe Biden and the Democrats. I mean, this guy is like mashed potatoes for brains. You see that,
fuck you. Oh my God, this Hunter Biden slander cannot stand, dude. Cannot fucking stand. Oh God. It's gotta be so sad. It's gotta be so fucking sad. Constantly being compared to Hunter Biden and just never, ever being half as fucking cool, dude. That's so sad. I mean this. Like, I genuinely mean this. No one likes Don Jr. No one. His dad doesn't like him. Hunter Biden, many people do. People lie and act like they fucking hate him, okay? People try so desperately. The same energy that, like, causes people to lie about how much they like Don Jr., which is conservatism, brain rot, obviously. I'm being a little ableist. I'm sorry about that. Is exactly the same energy that causes people to act like they fucking hate Don Jr., okay?
He comes out. He's on
Hunter Biden. Oh, God, I can't believe I said that accidentally.
Vacation. While the world's burning. Imagine Donald Trump as Afghanistan fell. By the way, as Afghanistan fell, while they pulled out our troops, but left between 10 and 40, and they don't even know, 1,000 Americans in Afghanistan. Now, Taliban control. I can watch the meltdown. It'd actually be nice because, like, they'd have such big aneurysms that there'd be none of this, like, ridiculous media left. Like, they would explode in their outrage. Joe Biden's on vacation.
I love this because he's like saying, I wish my dad would do the exact same thing that Joe Biden did just so the media would get mad. That's a self-report. You're basically saying, like, yeah, I don't really give a fuck about the people of Afghanistan or the Americans stranded there, but it would be cool to, like, fucking watch, the whole world burn. Like, it would be fine. Pathetic. Also, who wears fucking Puma, dude? What the fuck? Jesus Christ.
Like, I'm surprised he didn't do his speech from an ice cream shop the other day because it seems all he's capable of. So, it's hard to believe that it doesn't exist, that someone's willing to call out the bullshit when it exists. And
why do you think that is?
I created a niche.
Why do you think that is? I asked Dana when we did Dana, like, why is the media so against the right? Like, is it about money? Is it like...
I
why
think
are
they're
they
just,
so against it?
They're active. You see it in school, right? They're activists. If you're going into journalism, that's your mindset. And then you're in your bubble. If you go against the bubble, you get eaten alive. And listen, it's no different probably than like the woke military. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Rob, because and we do have to make the distinction between guys like this, the door kickers that are actually kicking ass, and like the generals that are saying, I really want to learn about white rage. It's like, give me a fucking break.
The difference too, having shooters on the ground fighting the enemy, Al Qaeda, ISIS, Taliban, seeing the difference between them, and then like show me a 4-star general, and I'll show you 14 people kissing his ass all around him, and just telling him exactly what he wants to hear, so they can have his job eventually.
Well, and he wants to get a board seat at woke corporate America, and so they want to keep us in these wars indefinitely because, like, hey, listen. They're not making a lot of money now, and that's their retirement plan. But, they're also costing the American taxpayer trillions. They're costing guys like Rob their lives and limbs, so we can stay in a war to get a board seat at Raytheon in a couple of years.
That's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing.
So someone has to call it out. And, like, to your point, like, dude, like, I was always conservative, but I was never political. But the fact that there's such a vacuum of, people that are just not willing to speak up, that I have sort of created a name for myself within politics just to be like, hey, has anyone called bullshit on this yet? Like, how insane is that?
That's what I mean. Like, what is the reason? Like, why? What motivation does Twitter have to, like, remove the president?
I think it's got to be personal power somewhere.
Like, is it about money somewhere?
There are a lot of people on television and politics that are blatantly lying. And it's got to be for kickbacks. It has to be. I can't figure it out. I don't know why. I don't want to say someone specifically hates their country. They got to be getting money on the back end. Someone is.
Well, and
Twitter
there's
will
also
say
virtue signaling. There's like a reward system, right?
Yeah.
If you're a liberal and you come out and you attack the conservatives, like, hey, like it's the Colin Kaepernick shit, right? Like, you get a sneaker deal, or Megan Rapinoe. You hate your country, great. We're gonna put you on you're the face of Subway sandwich now. Like, it's become cool to be woke, and there's a way to monetize it rather than talking common sense. Now, if you come out as a conservative, everyone out there is attacking you. So there's no upside. So I know there are people that are out there sort of selling some of this crap. They don't believe it because I know them. But it's like, well, it's the path to making a couple of bucks.
Yep.
And I'm not willing to risk taking the hits. That's the difference with me. I was like, screw it.
So
Like,
like
I'll take the hits. It's like,
so
what
an
do I care?
anchor on like CNN is just gonna follow the narrative just because they don't want to lose their job. Is like what you're saying. Like everyone's
I think
doing
that,
it.
but they got there through years of indoctrination.
Yeah.
And you see it in our school systems. I mean, you see it in some of these like sort of liberals of TikTok videos where it's like they're doing whatever they can to push some of the crazy aspects of the left. And I'm not even talking about like the difference between conservative and liberals. I mean, like some pretty batshit stuff. And it's like they're proud that they're indoctrinating kids to make sure that they never see another side. And if you see another side or bring it up, it's over. And so, they've just sort of taken over and grabbed a hold of all of these sort of cultural institutions. I mean, I think conservative values are generally like, hey, live and let live. Turn the other cheek. That's been great, but like, look what it's gotten us. I mean, we've seeded every cultural institution, even sports. I mean, woke sports is a thing. And now I know a lot of players, whether it's MLB, NFL, NHL, like probably not as much NBA, but like they are out and they can't even imagine like what's going on. They're like, I can't believe I got to go to work and push this bullshit. And yet it's jammed down their throat. And they know there is a very real consequence. I'm sure you've had this conversation,
That's
Bob.
a good
but
point.
like,
That's a good point.
100%.
Yeah.
Quick question. So back to, excuse me, Afghanistan.
Yes.
So obviously we're launching this episode tonight, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously it's pretty significant what's going on. Rob, you've been there. Take us through, first of all, two things. What happened in Afghanistan, for those who don't know, and what is going on right now currently as we speak?
People make mistakes all the time, and a lot of successes are because of mistakes you made. You're learning from them. You can Monday morning quarterback anything. I personally think we should have pulled out mostly out of Afghanistan around 2004, 2005, because we kind of had it won. We hadn't heard of an improvised explosive device, roadside bombs yet, but bad decisions are made. They wanted to surge. They like people. There are guys on the ground like me were saying, we live in a house in Jalalabad, Afghanistan. We know our neighbors. We give the kids candy. We get kebabs at the stand in the middle of town, which is unheard of, especially today. We don't need a bunch of scared young Americans driving around up armored Hum vehicles, running people over just because they're here. Regardless of your intention, you'll be seen as an occupier. So that's the first mistake. We do need to keep a base, especially Jalalabad Airfield, which is was really nice. And Bagram, Bagram is it's so fortified you can defend it forever, and you can have pilots out bombing caravans and back in time, literally for karaoke night and green bean coffee. Like that's what the place was like. Speed limits and paved roads. Keep those two open just for the cross border op. We know Al Qaeda is in Pakistan. They're not in Afghanistan. We came here to fight Al Qaeda, not the Taliban, like it or not. Just keep these here. We can hit them with drones. People started getting mad about that too. Oh, you're killing them with drones. Yes. Sorry, we can't kill people nice enough for you. But, we stayed there. We did get bin Laden in 2011. And it did need to start being scaled back, which is happening. And an unfortunate truth is we were going to have to negotiate with the Taliban eventually. That's just the way that part of the country works. We tried to give them schools and democracy. They don't want it. They want their valleys. That's it. So we have to start that. You certainly do not drop the keys and leave overnight. Yeah. That's the problem. Complete chaos because, it's almost to the point where, okay, are you stupid or are you incompetent? It's one or the other. And if you're the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's the highest ranking military officer, if you told him to pull out, you should be fired. If you told him not to pull out and he didn't listen, you should resign. Where we lived, and a lot of Americans, a lot of the coalition forces over there, if they screwed up this bad, they died or they got fired. You don't just don't show up for the press brief because you're in the basement.
Yeah, and I think that's where, I think we all probably as Americans agree that it was time to get out of Afghanistan, but there's a way to do it. And that's what everyone's saying. Well, Trump was going to try to pull out. It's like, yeah, Trump negotiated with the Taliban because you had to be in the room. Joe Biden has not yet spoken to a world leader. It's been like 5 days. Another world leader, like he's on vacation and checked out. Trump had conditions to the withdrawal. You heard Pompeo maybe on the news the other night, like X, Y, Z. If those guys were coming out in these single roads that they've now blockaded coming into Kabul, Trump would have been droning the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, no conditions, no nothing. And again, he pulled out our military before he got rid of the civilians. There's a difference. You can be in agreement that it was time to get out.
Yes.
You can even be in agreement that some things could be, it's never going to be great and the Taliban would always be there. But you can also say the execution was ridiculous. Joe, but you can talk a little bit about this, the fighting season, because, we were going to pull out in late spring when it's still cold.
Yep.
People are fighting. They're getting through a rough winter. In the middle of August is literally the worst time. But Joe Biden wanted ownership. He wanted to be the guy that said, I did this.
I did this on 9/11.
So he delayed it. I did it on 9/11. He wanted the photo op. It was like Kamala going to the border. She was 1,000 miles away from the border where the real crisis is happening. But, the media will cover her. Look, she's doing her job. She's next in line. She's definitely going to be the next president. First female president. Rah! She was 900 miles away from the actual crisis, the point in McAllen. It was the same thing. Joe Biden wanted that photo op. He wanted to go down as this. So he changed what Trump had sort of negotiated. The other difference is.
Okay, I have to admit, Robert O'Neill, I can't believe I'm giving him credit, but what he said about us pulling out in 2004, yeah, he has a good, he's right about that. Okay, he is right about that. He understands that we weren't doing anything good there. He gets it. The fucking stuff about the drones and Bagram, he still doesn't care about the people of Afghanistan. You know what I mean? He still thinks they should be murdered. They're not human beings. But go back and watch that NBA clip. Oh, he was like, yeah, I don't really watch NBA. No, I saw all of it. I know. Don Jr. called his dad Trump. Yeah, he's I love that, dude. There's so much I love about Don Jr. too. Don't get me wrong. It's just he's such a fucking pathetic dweeb lord that it's virtually impossible for him to look good. When he's talking about people really like me because I'm just just some guy who's I've always been conservative but not political, but people love me. It's dude, the only reason why people even give you any shred of fucking clout is because of your proximity to your dad, who fucking despises you. Okay, that's it. There's no other reason. You're just a guy, and you're not even a good guy. You can't even fucking be cool or remotely charismatic. You are just a fucking permanent L nerd.
The Taliban looked at Trump and realized, okay, we're not going to be trifle with that guy. They watched Joe Biden give press conferences from an ice cream shop, and they're like, yeah, we can fuck with that guy. He's not going to do anything. He's just a weak guy. And the one thing these guys understand, I would think, and Rob, you can speak to this better, is strength.
Oh, easily. They, the Taliban are tough fighters. They were scared shitless of Bagram Airfield. Scared to death. And that's the first thing you give up.
What is that? What is it?
Bagram Airfield is a Russian airfield that we built up. I mean, to the point of comedy, where I'm not kidding about karaoke night and Green Bean.
Don't they have 7-foot thick runways so you can literally land
anything,
the moon?
Anything there. Yeah. And you got to figure, so that there's, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 airstrips, jets everywhere, bombers everywhere, pilots, aircrew, security, Marines, soldiers. Everything is right there. And you got to figure, you have Bagram Airfield, you have access, a footprint for Russia, for Iran, for China, who's going to take it, by the way, watch and see. Yeah. Oh, and the Taliban won't fuck with China. You know why? Because China will kill you. And we're at the point now where we're saying, well, the Taliban are assuring us they're going to allow safe passage of civilians to the airport. On what fucking planet are you living? Yeah. First of all,
they're going to honor women's rights. That was the one I saw today. I'm like,
horrifying.
Really? The same people that throw gays off buildings, that enslave and rape women and children on a daily basis, they're going to honor women's rights. But more important, the Taliban yesterday, they called out Joe Biden, be like, well, Joe Biden gave this speech and he left. We're here answering questions. They called out Facebook and big tech, you guys are the ones suppressing free speech. We're here answering questions. And as much as I don't want to give the Taliban credit for anything, they're not wrong. That's how insane our
Yeah,
world
it is. It's
has
backwards.
gotten.
It's backwards.
It's like the Taliban is calling us out for being oppressive.
Yes, the Taliban called us oppressive.
I mean, it's, you're living in the Matrix, but they're not wrong.
No, they're not wrong. One thing funny though, just to get a little humor in there, someone did send me a picture of those dudes in the weight room that we just gave back, and he's on the treadmill. They're like, so what's this guy doing on the treadmill? I'm like, well, based on what I know of these people, he's trying to figure out a way to either eat it or fuck it.
Got it. So what's
Maybe both.
so
Yeah, why not?
so 3.5 years.
Yeah,
So there's 3.5 years left of Biden, right?
Yeah.
So what's the play? So
Well, think about that. I mean, if you look at our border, right? Humanitarian crisis, you have kids in cages. We didn't build the cages, but it was a really big deal that there were a couple of kids in cages. Now you have kids in cages that are 700, 1,000% overflowing, right? COVID positive up to 18, 19% statistic I read, and they're just releasing them into McAllen, Texas. Like, again, if it were Trump, what would they be saying? Just like
They'd be all over it,
Obama
yeah.
built the cages, but that was not a problem. Trump using those cages, a huge problem. Joe Biden getting them and having them at overflow capacity in the middle of a pandemic, sick, and releasing them into society, not a problem. Just like if you're in New York right now, you need a vaccine passport to go to work, to go to dinner, to go out. But if you're COVID positive in McAllen, Texas, they'll just release you into society and you can go do whatever you want. It's an honor system. Just try not to go near anyone. Like, you think that's going to work? I mean, there's just a hypocrisy that is just so flagrant these days. It's so glaring. And yet, again, no one's calling it out. It's perhaps why, I've been able to create a decent presence on.
Wait, what? Is he advocating for COVID passports in McAllen, Texas? Yeah, I think, they got COVID passports in New York, but not in Texas. I wonder why, jackass. Like, literally, I wonder why there is no COVID fucking passports in Texas. God, it's so awesome. It's so obvious that, like, they couldn't get Trump, so they had to get the fucking shitty version. Fuck, Trump would have been owning in this interview, dude.
On social media, because I'm one of the guys. Again, like, hey, Rob's done a great job of that. I mean, and by the way, he calls out, the bullshit on both sides. And by the way, even I do too, because I mean, there's plenty of these establishment Republicans that I'm like, guys, like, you go and you wax poetic, when you're at a fundraiser talking conservative stuff, and then you go to DC and you fold so that some douchebag at Politico doesn't write a mean article about you. I'm like, that's not who I want representing me either. Like, I want values and I want resolve, not sound bites and talking points.
Right.
One thing I want to know is, like, how much authority does Biden have when it comes to, like, pulling those troops out? Like, is that all his decision?
It can be with the commander in chief. He's the commander of all the forces. And like I said, if the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and National Security Advisor says one thing, the president can say, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this. But there should have been. I hope there were people around him saying this is a horrible idea. Because it's not gonna end well, and if we can't get our 10,000 Americans out, we're jumping troops back in.
Well, it seems like some of the stuff I've read is that people were advising him, like, don't change the existing plan. You know what I mean? Make sure there's conditions. But again, he wanted to change it to make it his own. He wanted to get the full credit for that. So now he owns that shit.
He's gonna own it forever. It's worse than the fall of Saigon. So, all he had to do was keep walking.
What was the move then? Like, what? Because I know I don't think we were spending a lot of money there anymore, right? We didn't have a lot of people there.
We didn't have a combat death in over 18 months.
Right.
And,
safer than Chicago.
Yeah, actually,
that's what I say.
My father said it last night on any go, hey, when I left Afghanistan, when I left my thing, for 18 months prior to that, or whatever it was, there was not a single American casualty in Afghanistan, which is significantly safer than Chicago, New York, or any of our big cities. All
so
under
what was
Democrat
this
control.
rush then? Like, it seems like there must have been something else
politics.
to it.
He wants to own it. It's politics. I mean, if Joe Biden would have said, we're pulling out, this is my call, and we pulled out and everything was great, it's like, well, shit, awesome. But nobody thought that was going to happen. No one with it. I mean, of course, nowadays up is down, down is up. Like, if you tell the truth, you can get fired. And people just don't like the truth. They just want to say, yeah, I'm sure we'll be fine. The Taliban won't take it. And they said, no, and even the bullshit about, we have some tough Afghan fighters that we train. Look, you train them for 20 years. They're twice the size of the Taliban. They lost in 3 days. Someone's not fucking fighting.
Well, did you see the video I put up on my Instagram? Like, I mean, it was literally, we spent $88 billion just on training. And you're watching these guys try to do jumping jacks. Like, check it out on my Instagram. Like, it's literally laughable. Jacks. Like, You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know.
Like,
I know.
It's absolutely ludicrous that you spent $88 billion. And again, it's just being cycled back into the pockets of the guys that are part of the military-industrial complex and all of that stuff. They're getting rich off of it. And again, they're maybe a politician then, but then once they leave politics, they become a lobbyist.
And then
they're lobbying for that. And that's how the money cycles. And it keeps those guys rich.
True.
It's why D.C. is the richest zip code in the country, or one of the top 3. But they don't actually produce anything other than they peddle influence.
So what now, back to Afghanistan, what is going on right now as we speak? So are we have soldiers there that are trying to evacuate Americans and Afghans?
Yeah, the Taliban had been planning this in mostly Canada, Pakistan for the past 15 years, what they're going to do. And the plan, well, they didn't assume Bagram would fall, but that worked out well for them. So then they can surround, it's called Hamid Karzai International Airport. That'll maybe not anymore at this point because they're going to rename it. But they're going to surround it, and now they have everyone trapped in the cities. They can't get into the airport to leave. So there's Taliban checkpoints everywhere. And, I just on the front cover of I think the New York Post today, there's someone getting hacked to death with a machete outside of an ATM.
Well, they actually put out, they said yesterday, I did a little sort of like Rumble Facebook video on it. They literally put out a press release saying, get to Hamid Karzai Airport, though the embassy says we cannot guarantee your safety. So they want you to travel there. Now, the embassy, don't forget, the embassy now is in Taliban control.
Right, it's Taliban.
Joe Biden on July 8th said, under no circumstances will there be photographs, of the Chinooks, I guess, or whatever it was that they were of Saigon in 75. It's literally the same photo. It almost looks like you can't tell the difference in the photo unless you look at the building. I posted a video, on my Twitter and Facebook that shows literally the photographs of them evacuating the embassy. This is 6 weeks ago. Joe Biden said under no circumstances was that going to happen. They have the same helicopter evacuating people out of the embassy. The difference between this and Saigon is this is significantly worse because they forgot about the 10 to 40,000 Americans that were still there. They got some of those embassy personnel out.
Oh, yeah.
The embassy fell. It's worse because there's 10 to 40,000 people that are stranded in Afghanistan. And they're saying we can't guarantee your safety.
The Afghans have worked with us, and they find out you worked certain areas with the Americans. They're not just going to skin you alive. They're going to watch them. You get to watch them skin your kids alive. Then they'll get to you. So what we're saying to them, so the Department of State, for people who don't know, they sort of take care of the civilian sector and how to, travel advisors, blah, blah, blah. So they're telling these Afghans, the State Department is just saying, just contact your representative of the State Department. They had all evacuated.
Yeah.
They got nothing.
Yeah.
They got nothing.
Yeah, contact the embassy. What embassy?
Right.
The embassy's in Taliban control. So some bureaucrat in D.C. I saw the media. Tom Cotton put out this thing on social media, the senator. He goes, listen, contact my office at this number. We will figure out a way to make it happen. The media starts going, oh, what are you going to do, Tom Cotton? It's like, well, the embassy fell. No one else is doing jack shit. He's actually trying to help. He's actually trying to proactively be part of a solution. It's not ideal, but he served and he understands how these things work, and he sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee or whatever it may be. Yeah. He may be able to help get something done and effectuate change. But the media jumps on him. Oh, what are you going to do? Well, what are you guys doing? Right. You're running cover for Joe Biden while he's on vacation.
How many people are over there right now that we want to get?
We sent more people in, didn't we now?
They said 6,000.
But how many people are in there right now that we want to get out?
We don't even know. That's the point. They put out a thing between 10 and 40,000, according to, I guess it was
Americans.
A little latitude.
Right.
But they said they resumed flights, and in the last 24 hours, they had gotten something like 600 to 700 people out. So play it out. If they're getting 600 to 700 people out in a 24-hour cycle, and there could be up to 40,000 people, you're going to spend 2 months evacuating Americans? What do you think is going to happen? The Taliban, I understand the press is giving them a lot of attention. They're giving the Taliban a bigger platform than my father, the former president of the United States, who's not allowed to be on social media. Yeah. What happens when the beheadings start? Because they're going to start.
Oh, they've already started.
All right, so
what happens when the raping starts?
When they do, though, and that's something that we see on our end, and we see those happenings, what's the play?
They're going to control their media and they will.
Do we go in and get
it'll happen and we won't see it?
Yeah, the Taliban
it's happening.
Who do have a verified Twitter account, by the way. They won't put it on their Twitter account.
They have a verified Twitter account?
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they?
No, the Taliban spokesman. It's a designated terrorist organization, and they have it, but Donald Trump's not allowed to be on Twitter because he sent a couple mean tweets. And I always say, you know what? Looking at the world right now, I would take $1.85 gas, peace in the Middle East, a secure border, a booming economy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in exchange for a couple mean, but probably also true in most cases, tweets.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's
yeah.
not the way we, that's
mean
not the
tweets.
world
That's,
we live
that's
in.
where we were. Mean tweets.
But the Taliban right now are basically like, hey, we're going to comply with you guys, correct?
Well, see, they know the world's watching them now.
Yeah.
And you know, who knows? They might let Americans out, but once they have control, I mean, they have it now in spots that we can't see. And these are not good people. These are as brutal as they get. These guys are as bad as ISIS. They'll burn you alive. They'll, you know, depending on the age of your daughters, these ones get their heads cut off. These ones are sex slaves. You know, this one gets hung at the Coliseum. You know, that's what they do. And these are just bad people. And but they've been gearing up for this. They've been seething at this, and they're there.
Well, and they know how our media works, right? So they know how to give them exactly what they want to get the cover. You know, it's like when Putin says, like, well, what happened to Ashley Babbitt? Putin could care less about what happened to Ashley Babbitt in the Capitol, but it's a way of calling out the hypocrisy, and he knows the media is going to jump. It's like when China starts saying, well, that's not really woke. I mean, you got to, like, China doesn't give a shit. Like, they literally are committing genocide against the Uyghur Muslims in China. They're enslaving people. They have death camps. They don't care, but they know how to manipulate our media, and they're just acting like a puppet master so that our media goes after ourselves, and we end up eating our own.
Oh, yeah.
We eat our own, and that's how they gain leverage on a world stage.
What do you think your father would have done differently? Because these guys kind of surprised them, right?
Well, listen, like I said, Pompeo's talked about it the other night in terms of the details. Like, you know, there were conditions to this thing. They weren't going to do it at a time, you know, during the summertime when, you know, the Taliban, they're literally bored. They got nothing to do but fight. You know, you can speak to this.
We've been
higher.
calling it the fighting season. We've known it every year since 2001. They fight in the summer, and then the winter sucks.
Yeah, the winter sucks. They go higher. You know, things are calmer, so you can do it. So you don't have this massive surge. Yeah. He would have been droning the shit out of the, you know, the highways coming in.
Convoys,
I mean, there were just caravans and convoys. It'd be like the original Iraq War, right? You'd get a, you know, get an A-10 and just run down the line, you know, shooting depleted uranium at these things, and you could take out, you know, tens of thousands. There would have been real conditions. There would have been fear in the back of the mind of these guys saying, like, hey, you know, I'm going to get nuked on this road going in there.
Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't do it the same way. It would have given the Afghan fighting forces, if they wanted to actually fight, you know, a chance, because it wouldn't just be this deluge, this onslaught at once. But again, Joe Biden changed that plan because he wanted credit on the world stage. He's so not there that he figured, hey, if I do this, it'll go great, and I can take credit for this. And now he owns it.
So what consequences is this going to have now in the West?
Look, what do you think, if you're sitting in Taiwan right now, what do you think's happening? What do you think happened in the last week to sort of, you know, the notion of being an...
I love this. Oh, the Taiwan rhetoric is so fucking funny, dude. It's like you don't give a fuck about Taiwan. Donald Trump never gave a fuck about Taiwan. Also, I love that he, like, basically was talking about the warthogs. That's a war crime. He's talking about the highway of death in the first fucking Iraq war, where the U.S. military literally fucking opened up on retreating refugees and also disarmed Iraqi soldiers. So he is currently referencing, not Taiwan, but what he's talking about is literally the highway of death. Really cool stuff from you know, why couldn't we just do the highway of death? You know, that's an
American ally.
Some war crimes.
We're an American ally. We just abandoned, you know, 40,000 Americans up to possibly, you know, in Afghanistan. What do you think Taiwan's thinking? Whatever China's timeline, and there is a timeline for taking over Taiwan, it just accelerated 1,000 times because they're going around saying, see, you can't rely on America. Like, we just made ourselves so weak on a world stage that I don't think the average person.
Did we just have like I didn't realize we had like a massive military presence in Taiwan in a similar capacity to fucking China. The thing I wanted to mention that I find really funny is when he's talking about like how other world leaders know how to manipulate the American media. And he's like, oh, you know how like Vladimir Putin talked about Ashley Babbitt. What happened to Ashley Babbitt? You know, he knows how to get them going. You literally just did the Taliban Facebook censorship thing. You fucking idiot. You literally just did exactly what you're talking about with respect to like liberal media, but for the Taliban. Like, I can't believe I gotta hand it to the Taliban, but they're right about censorship on Facebook. I mean, they're right.
Free socialism will win.
Like, anyway.
person can fathom it. I mean, if you're an ally of the U.S., we just told all of them, like,
10 months.
we're there with you, but we're not really there with you. Like, when the shit hits the fan, we are leaving and tucking tail.
Well, we've our strength has been a triage of forward defense, deterrence, and alliance solidarity, and that's how you can win. You can win without firing a shot. But once we lose our allies like this, I mean, it's like they don't trust us. I wouldn't trust us. I would not be an interpreter anywhere for the United States right now.
Yeah, and if you're in Taiwan and you're talking about that, like, you know what? China, come on in. You know, if you're in any one of the places that China's essentially trying to colonize around the world, it'd be like,
this is pretty funny. You know, coming from the country that has Puerto Rico, Hawaii, the American Samoa. There's Alaska. I guess Alaska's a little different, but like Guam. Sorry, Guam. I find it strange that he's like, one, talking about Taiwan this way, but also, secondly, like, does he think that like we were holding off like China from, you know, taking Taiwan or something? Like, what is that? This is like a new conservative take that I haven't heard. It's new to me. And I don't know what the argument is about Taiwan. Like, what is their argument? Are they saying that like America is stopping China from like taking Taiwan or something? Also, America doesn't even fucking recognize Taiwan. So what is he saying? Like, Trump was president. It's not like, you know, it's not like he made any fucking efforts to do like Taiwan independence or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Like, I know. You know what? We'll take their money. We'll take the briefcase of cash they're giving us under the table. The Americans, you know, they got to play by different rules. They're not going to, like, China's going to take over the world.
So,
it's
Don,
what they've done
that...
with rare earth minerals. It's what they've done with everything. And that's their plan. And that was going to happen probably one way or the other because they're actually, you know, they're smart and they don't play by rules, meaning, you know, they don't care about political niceties. You know, they're not trying to please anyone. They could care less. They have one mission and one mission alone, and they're able to think beyond 2 weeks from now when we have our next elections to say, this is where we want to be in 100 years, and this is how we get there, and everything else doesn't matter. We don't think that way. We're so short-sighted. We make stupid decisions so we can have a win for next week so that we can get reelected, continue to keep power, get that board seat in the future. Yeah. You know, America's future be damned. I mean, we've leveraged the shit out of our country. You know, our children's futures are screwed because we just, hey, what's another couple $1 trillion? Joe Biden, you know, a couple $1 trillion to teach critical race theory, you know, and woke bullshit to our children. Who cares? It's infrastructure because everything's infrastructure. You know, your sneakers are now infrastructure, Bob. Like, that's where we've gotten. And they don't care because it's not their money. But it allows them to keep power and it allows them to then later make money again. And that's why my dad got involved in this in the first place. He was like, listen, I'm a business guy. Like, he's been watching this shit pissed off for decades. And now.
Smooch.
Also, Donald Trump Jr. has done nothing ever in his fucking life. And it's so transparent because it's like, that's all he talks about is literally just like, you know, I mentioned this in my Twitter post. Check my Twitter out. I mentioned this on an Instagram post. Check my Instagram post. I was like, dude, are you just there to plug your Instagram, you fucking loser? You're not, like, your dad's never going to love you, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. If you reach 1 million followers, your dad is not going to magically love you.
Now you're seeing, because you said it right? We're only 7 months in. Like, we've got 2 humanitarian crises, right? The border, unquestionably. Again, you don't have the coverage because the media is one way, but it's a crisis. Afghanistan, serious crisis. Inflation, serious crisis. I mean, we're gonna destroy the middle class of this country. And then, you know, by the way, the next crisis is going to be the refugee crisis. And, you know, there are definitely some great people probably in Afghanistan, and there are people that we have no idea what their intentions are. You know,
he's so mad. He's like, why am I not talking about Afghanistan? Like, I literally was there. Why is this fucking chinless dipshit talking about Afghanistan? I would much rather hear the fucking weirdo Navy SEAL talk about it than him, to be honest.
I have friends in the Border Patrol. I mean, for the last few months, he's like, hey, like a good percentage. And I don't mean like 1 or 2. I mean like significant double-digit percentage are like, yeah, they're guys from the Middle East coming in. Mm-hmm. Like, They just see it's a porous border. Now, if you're a Cuban refugee who's being shot at by your government,
You stay put.
you're not allowed in the country. We don't want you because the Democrats in power don't want someone who's maybe against communism and socialism, which is where they're ultimately trying to push something. So if you're a Cuban refugee seeking asylum and actually like deserving asylum, not like I just want to come to America for the free shit, which is what you see a lot, at the southern border, but people who are actually getting shot at by an oppressive regime that's jailing them for simply wanting freedom and for speaking out against the government, they're not allowed in because they've experienced what socialism and communism does. And, so this is one of the things I talk about a lot, and media goes crazy because like, what do you know about it? Well, I know about it because my mother escaped it. My mother was from communist Czechoslovakia. She escaped because she was a good athlete. She was an Olympic skier, and so she got to Canada and then came into the U.S. legally and like wasn't ever going back. And I remember as a kid, I saw my parents like with their wedding picture. I was like, well, why is my grandfather there but not my grandmother? Mm-hmm. And they basically explained it was like, well, like they wouldn't let them both out of the country because they knew if they both got out of the country, no one was ever coming back. So I'm like, sounds like a wonderful system. Let's bring it here.
Yeah.
And my grandparents sort of made sure that I experienced that. It's sort of probably indirectly, meaning I didn't know it at the time, but it was probably how I sort of became a conservative because as a kid, when they got to come to America and saw what we had here and the freedoms that we have and all the shit that like, these Bernie Sanders supporters and these like 12-year-old kids regurgitating what their high school professors are indoctrinating them with, like,
high school professors? High school professors that are teaching fucking children that communism is good. Like, I mean, I have a couple high school teachers in here that are definitely leftist, but like outside of like maybe maximum 100 teachers that are fans of mine, I doubt that there's a lot of fucking high school teachers that are teaching communism as a positive.
They saw that and they're like, oh man, like you got to see the other side. So at 5 years old, I spent my summers in like communist Czechoslovakia. Like I've waited in those bread lines, and I can assure you they're not nearly as glamorous as Bernie Sanders would have you believe.
Are you gonna run for office?
At Hasanabi,
I don't have intentions of it right now, but I'm in the game 100%. Like I think I can actually do more helping. Rob's been on the road with me as we've done that in Montana and elsewhere. Like, I want to help 30 other guys because that's the problem. Like one guy in DC, there's so many, even on our side. Like,
I feel like Donald Trump Jr.
Congrats on the new Hasanabi.
1 year after Trump is gone, would effectively serve as a poison pill for any fucking candidacy, dude. Like, who would be like, oh my God, Donald Trump Jr. is here. Like, that's sick. Yeah, I can't wait to vote for J.D. Vance because Donald Trump Jr. came on and vouched for him. The son of the guy. That's sick, man.
These like stiff schmucks, again, they tell you what you want to hear. They then vote for you. Then they go to D.C. and do whatever the establishment tells them. So, I'm in the game fully. Like, and right now I think I can do more, as one guy helping 40 guys than, one guy in the office and doing all that. But no, I'm going to stay vocal because you have to. We have to fight for something.
What about your father? You think your father will run again?
Listen, I'm watching him, and again, I think Joe Biden's legacy will be showing America how good they actually had it under Trump. I know you'll never hear that, but just there's not a metric where we're not significantly better off. Now they'll say, no. Well, statistically speaking, you saved 16 cents on your July 4th barbecue. Remember that? 16 cents. Now, if you drove your car to pick up your steak, if you went about 7 yards because of the energy prices, that savings was gone. If you drove a quarter of a mile, it was gone. But they won't talk about that. So, they'll figure out a way to manipulate the numbers to make it seem so great. But, like, the reality, it's a disaster. And now they're going to dump another, they dump $2 trillion. They're like, look, everything's great. Yeah, you just stuck $2 trillion onto your kids' and grandkids' futures. So, of course, it's great. There's all this extra money in the economy, but, like, they're paying people to sit at home. I mean, I moved to Florida just trying to get people to work. I speak to the contractors doing work on my house. They're literally like, I can't get someone to show up because they're making more money sitting on their couch than they would be working.
So
or they'll work 2 days a week for cash, take the government money as well, and they're net ahead doing nothing.
So if you're a betting man, you think your dad will run?
I love hearing about what the working class should do from the guy who's literally never worked a day in his life. Sorry. That's not true. He has worked. only to fucking do charity fraud. Unbuy your house.
Run again.
Listen, I
Seems like it.
It seems like he's into it. I mean, and honestly, I'd like to see it because the problem that we have is it doesn't seem like there's a bench on our side. There's a natural bench on the Democrat side because, they have their sort of fluffers in the media, that'll make everyone a hero, right? AOC, she's the greatest thing in the world. Rashida Tlaib, she's wonderful. She's a, brilliant politician. Like, none of the hypocrisy, none of the lies. That it's harder on our side, and I don't know that we have enough people yet that will fight.
Yeah, dude, Fox News, literally the most famous fucking Why? Conservatives always act like Fox News does not exist. It's so funny. They're like, they have single-handedly the most successful media company out there, and then they just act like Fox News is not there. Oh, they got fluffers in the media. We don't have anything. It's like, dude, what about Fox News?
Back the way my father will, where he just doesn't care. He just takes the arrows. He just keeps fighting. He doesn't give a shit. Like, we don't have that yet. Our guys are still, our bench isn't deep enough that we have enough people that aren't afraid of the slings and arrows that come at you when you're a politician and you're a conservative.
Yeah, we have a bunch of pussies.
Yeah.
And look at the Republicans that voted for the infrastructure bill just because they got pork in there. They'll get reelected.
Dude, this guy, fuck you, dude. The one thing that, like, Republicans actually did that was good, and you're gonna fucking use that against them? Like, are you psychotic? You fucking piece of shit, dude. What a garbage person. I love when these fucking dickheads talk about how, like, they love the working class. We love the working class. And then he's, like, fucking complaining about an infrastructure bill, dude. Ugly ass tattooed bitch. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm such a good populist. I love the people. It's like, dude, you're really gonna fucking shit on Republicans for having such a sweet deal that they, like, unironically couldn't say no to it because, like, they desperately need funding for their own fucking infrastructure?
They're not playing the long game. They're playing to the next election. And like the Taliban would say,
I've never seen worse tattoos on a human, dude. Holy
same with China.
shit.
They say America has the clock, but we have the time. They're all playing the long game.
100%.
And we're fucking our kids over. They don't even realize it because communism has indoctrinated them to thinking the shit they're being taught. Because Nikita Khrushchev did say in the 1950s, we're going to take over Hollywood. We're going to take over your schools and your media. And they did. And they said, we're going to beat America without fighting a shot. And no one even talks about that.
Yeah.
It's like there's
right.
just because you're not at war.
Okay, now I'm kind of seeing, like, I'm kind of seeing why he follows me now. I feel like this dude is gonna assassinate me. Old Tifu has bad tattoos. Old Tifu. LMAO, he has 0 kills. Okay, no. Motherfucker, no. He was Navy SEAL, dude. Are you kidding me? He definitely has kills, dude. Probably, I mean, the ethics behind those kills are most likely very questionable. Should be called into question. But let's be real. Like, he definitely has kills.
War doesn't mean someone's not at war with you. And it's just a shame. And with this country, we have the capability to do whatever we want, a force for good, and we won't do it. We just call each other names.
What do you think, like, the future of the U.S. is? Like, if it's this divided, like,
what
do you think? Are we headed for, like, a civil war, like an anarchy? Like,
it's divided between, like, the Beltway and New York. That's the media and the politicians and the stuff in Hollywood. I get out. You guys travel a lot. When you meet people, regardless of the side of the aisle, Americans are really, really good people. Americans will help each other. Americans agree with each other. And it's not like it's not the Republicans or the Democrats.
There was a dude in the chat that said I should be killed. What an insane person. I'm like, why are you watching me, dude? I mean, actually, like, why?
Cap.
Democrats, the conservatives and liberals, it's the fucking crazies and the fucking crazies. And they're the loudest because the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. And that's just how most people are good. I'm confident in it.
I think they're also waking up.
I hope so.
A lot of people are waking up.
I think the media, like, look at what you guys are doing, right? I mean, you're catering to a younger demographic. You're doing that because there was literally no one talking the counterpoints to the other side. So I think you guys have an incredible opportunity. And I think, people were watching, wow, had I known about Hunter Biden's laptop, like I wouldn't have voted for, imagine it was me.
Oh my God.
Is it fair, though? Is it fair?
Imagine it was me doing crack.
bashing.
Like they say that because I
Yeah, you just do cocaine. Like, you don't do crack. You don't do crack, the proletarian's choice of drug. Like, it's fine. Like, you're a fucking bougie little bitch. It's okay. I have a fucking $3 billion mega mansion. You know what I mean? It's like we're just Bill Dipperly. Hunter Biden, on the other hand, just literally housing houseless people. Okay, actually doing that. That was what he was doing. It's true. Look it up.
I'm animated and I am aggressive and loud as fuck. Like, they say that Don Jr.'s on cocaine. I'm like, you have pictures of that dude, like in 50 situations smoking crack.
So what does he do? Does he just rail a bunch of blow and just like
I guess
fuck
like, who
hookers in
knows?
Russia?
But like, if I was selling art to undisclosed buyers for $500,000, having like a Picasso sold last week, for like 150 grand. Hunter Biden selling art for $500,000. You think they'd have a problem if it was me? Like, he's not even an artist, but he became one. If I took $1 billion from China, it would be a problem. If I was in dealing.
Again, Hunter Biden, artist. Donald Trump Jr. doesn't understand art.
With Russian oligarchs with ties to Putin, like that would actually be Russia collusion. Instead of
is Hunter even doing anything when it comes to?
But does it matter? Like, you know what I mean? Like 10% for the big guy. Like, I wasn't in government.
Right.
I didn't have an office in the White House. Now I'm vocal because we were up against literally everyone. So it's like, in my way, like that's how I fought. Like, it was like, fuck it. Someone's got to say this stuff. So I think America, to sort of the bigger point that you were bringing up, is like, I think they're onto it. I think media has lost all credibility. I think they realize that media has really become sort of like political entertainment. Like, how can we take an outrageous stance and be outraged for clicks and clickbait? I think they're getting it. And I see that. And, again, I get it, dude. I'm an unlikely source to be, tied in with sort of middle America, but, what I call the dark zone everywhere between New York and Malibu. But like my hobbies, whether it's shooting and hunting and like, I'm there. That's where I actually spend my free time. And like, that's where my friends are. You've seen it. Like,
The moment that you use like being in middle America as a flex, you have already betrayed the idea that you were trying to present yourself as like a regular American, okay? Well, I love being in middle America. Those places are dog shit. I grew up in Florida and also, of course, grew up in an incredibly lavish lifestyle with a very wealthy family, but I love hunting in Nebraska sometimes. But those pathetic peasants,
I don't think you can fake that.
No.
Politicians try all the time, but like this is actually, Rob actually saw this because we did some campaigning.
Thank you, Doobie Wizard, for the 521 gifts those.
And I guess it was GQ magazine. You actually paid me one of the great compliments.
Says man with a 3 billion mega mansion. It's 4 billion now, bitch. That's right. My mega mansion, $4 billion.
I had in my life.
I'm not bullshitting.
And GQ followed us. We were campaigning in Montana, and someone asked me about shooting and hunting, and I sort of started rambling because that's what I do, and I was a competitive long-range shooter. And so they go to Rob, and they're like, okay, like they wanted to try to just sort of get me, like, so, Don's talking about shooting and long-range and competitively, but like he's really full of shit, right? And Rob was actually like, dude, like I was a SEAL sniper, and like Don's forgotten more about this shit than I'll ever know.
I'm
like,
not even bullshitting. Yeah,
so it was one of the great compliments of my life. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but like,
well, I appreciate
8 months.
Oh, this is so pathetic, dude. It's so fucking sad and so pathetic. Yeah, he told me I'm good at hunting to suck me off. It's so good. Oh, God. Hey, whatever.
You're saying that.
It was. So, for me, you got some street cred there. So when you say it actually means something, and these guys were like, Oh.
Well, it's funny when someone knows more, because I was a sniper, and when someone knows more about ballistics than me, they're like, "Well, so what? How does this work with the wind couch and then the trigger?" I'm like, "I don't know. I pull the trigger and the dude's wife screams. I don't know."
But so I spend my time in that world, and I do it, and that's where I enjoy it. But like those people, they're getting it. Like the people who were uninvolved are starting to get involved. The people who were in the middle and were like, maybe I don't like Trump's tone. And by the way, there's a big percentage of people that still think that they're very, just innocent, just good God, family, country Americans. They're like, I don't love that tone. I think now they realize that tone was there because you need it to be. Because you're the only guy actually standing up. And when they're attacking you, they're attacking your family. Don't forget, like, Don Jr. committed treason. Don Jr. was dealing with the Russians. Don Jr. perjured himself. He should be treason, like a crime punishable by death. Mm-hmm. Like senators, people on intelligence committees were saying that I did these things. Going after your family that way. Now you start to realize, like, you know what? Maybe the mean tweets, maybe if they attack you that way, and by the way, now he's proven to be right. Like, name something he wasn't.
I literally love Don. I almost said. I literally love Hunter Biden, dude. I do. I would love to have him on the show. Oh my God, I should try to get him on the show. That's one person I would give such a positive interview to. Like, I know the White House has like cucked me with having fucking, Fauci on and stuff, but I wonder if there's a way I could ever have him on. I would do a double booking. Chet Hanks and keep saying Don Jr. Chet Hanks and Hunter Biden, my two favorite fail sons.
Proven to be right about, essentially, you know what I mean, in big issues in the end. Maybe that's why there's a mean tweet, because like you're the only one out there actually fighting. So I think people are onto that, and they're starting to realize like what's actually going on. And I think that's important.
Speaking from like the young, oh shit.
Boys,
good job, guys. This budget like porn set that you guys got going on. It's falling
we got
apart.
Don Jr., Robert O'Neill.
We have your father who's decided to come in and join us here tonight.
Hey, Dad.
Surprise, your father has decided to join us here.
Did I take it too far?
I forgot to tell you, I do have ghosts that follow me around and do shit like that.
Bro, he is so excited. He was like, what? What do you mean? Is my dad here? That would be so funny. Oh, Dad.
You know what I mean? In big issues in the end. Maybe that's why there's a mean tweet, because like you're the only one out there actually fighting. So I think people are onto that, and they're starting to realize like what's actually going on. And I think that's important.
Speaking from like the young, oh shit.
Boys,
good job, guys. This budget like porn set that you guys got going on. It's falling
we got
apart.
Don Jr., Robert O'Neill.
We have your father who's decided to come in and
watch his face.
join us here tonight.
Hey, Dad.
Surprise, your father has decided.
Hey, Dad. Did I do all right?
To join us
Did
here.
I take it too far?
I forgot.
No one knows what it's like. Look at his face. Oh, no, of course he's not there. He's just smiling through the pain, dude. Who am I kidding? My dad would never be here to watch me. I mean, come on, believe me, that's crazy.